change happens, anticipate change, monitor change, change yourself with that, adapt yourself, and be ready to change again and again. Hello everyone, this is Syed Ali Hasnain Shah. I hope you're enjoying our channel. Here we are sharing some tips on investments, and we're sharing tips on how to discover your purpose of life and also how to develop your personality. So in this regard, talking about personality development, we're going to review an interesting book today. It's called Who Moved My Cheese? So in this book, it's a fable. It's a story about 4 mice, and they're very interesting characters. It's just a small book of 65 pages, and I'm sure you can finish it off in just one sitting with your favorite cup of tea or coffee. So in this book, the author, Dr. Spencer Johnson, is giving example of 4 mice, and these 4 mice are living in a maze, and there's a cheese station where there's an ample supply of cheese. These mice, they love cheese, so they love eating cheese all day long. So their best daytime is when they have cheese, and then they run around maze, and then whenever they get hungry again, they come back to the maze, they come back to the cheese station, and they consume cheese. The names of the mice are quite interesting. One, they're called Sniff, Scurry, Hem, and Haw. So usually Sniff and Scurry are the active ones, and what they do is this, that every morning before setting out in the maze, they come for a breakfast on the cheese station. And they have a lot of cheese, and they nibble the cheese, and then they eat and go away. So while they're doing that, they realized that this cheese supply is becoming shorter and shorter. So in their minds, while they were sniffing cheese, they thought that there is something wrong happening over here. So it could be possible that someday we run out of cheese here. Anyhow, one day they come to the cheese station, and they see there was no cheese over there. It was like somebody just removed the cheese from there. So they got surprised, but not very much shocked, as they knew that the cheese supply was getting smaller and smaller. So they had an idea that one day it's going to happen that the cheese just completely runs out. So Sniff and Scurry, they talk to each other, and they see what can they do in such a situation. So they think that maybe they should stay here because they were starved, and maybe somebody is going to deliver more cheese. But then they realized there's no one to deliver more cheese. So they thought that maybe we should just go out in the maze and try to discover another cheese station. There could be a cheese station with better supply of cheese. So that's what they did. They started sniffing around into the maze, and they kind of said, okay, let's explore the maze. So they spent a few hours exploring the maze, and eventually they found cheese, a bigger station with lots of different cheeses. So they started eating like crazy, and they were very happy. In the meantime, Hem and Haw, they come to the previous old cheese station. They are usually the lazy ones or the laid back ones. So they came after them, after the first 2 left already, and they realized the cheese was gone. So for them, it was the biggest shock of their lives. And they said, what happened to the cheese? Who removed the cheese? Who stole our cheese? Who moved our cheese? So they started asking all these questions. Talked about it that somebody did something very unfair to them by moving that cheese, because they had the cheese, it was their own. So Hem was the one who was really adamant to try out any new thing. So he said, I'm going to just sit over here and see what happens. Somebody is going to bring back cheese that they stole. Haw, on the other hand, while he sat over there for hours with Hem, he kind of pondered over the situation, and he gradually came out of shock, and he realized that this cheese that is just finished over here, it's not going to come back. So we need to make a move. And eventually, he was a bit scared, and he was quite scared going into the maze and exploring new cheese. So he thought that there might be he was totally scared. He has never done exploration. So after a lot of deliberation, eventually he decides to go out and explore. Maybe he could find a new station. It is better to be out there in the maze and enjoy it instead of being in a cheese-less situation. While Haw did that, Hem stayed put over there, and he decided to just hold his ground, and he didn't go there, although he was completely starved. So that tells us about how these characters are basically showing characters that we come across in our lives, in our offices, at our homes. There are 4 kind of behaviors people show. Some of the people, when something changes, they change themselves quickly, they adapt to the new situation, and they scurry into action. So first they sniff the change, they see that the change is on the horizon, and they start getting prepared for the change, and then they scurry into action like scurry. So then there are other people who get extremely shocked when change happens. For them it's very difficult to come out of their comfort zone. So some of them act like Haw, and after a lot of deliberation, by overcoming their fears, they start exploration and start going after new things in life and start changing. Whereas there are people like Hem who just never come out of the shock, and they just want the things the same way. They keep complaining all day long about what happened to them. They blame everything else, that why things changed. In our lives, we get stuck with something that we really like. So cheese is something which is a metaphor for anything that you like in life. It could be a very good car, it could be the house that you love, it could be a job that you really like. But when situation changes, you can become redundant. Then how you need to deal with that change? So if you become redundant, a job that you love, if you're made redundant, so you need to change yourself. You need to adapt yourself to deal with that change. Sometimes in life, we have to move out from one country or a city to another city or another country, and we need to our house that we really love. So in that case also, you need to know that in life we are to let go of old things. Sometimes we need to let go of things that we really love, but in anticipation of finding new and better house. Another important aspect that we learn from this book is imagining yourself enjoying new cheese leads you to that. That means, so if you start imagining what you want in your life, the universe starts helping you to achieve that. Change is inevitable. Change is the only constant in life. Everything has to change. So it's better that we change ourselves and we adapt as the change happens, right? And we need to look for the change and we need to adapt accordingly. Those people who are unable to change themselves, they also need to come out of their comfort zone. They need to realize the sooner they come out of their comfort zone and try out and adapt, they're going to get better results. Their life is going to be better. The sooner you let go of old cheese, you will find new and better cheese in life. One thing we also learn from here is this, that in our life, in the real world, people stay in the comfort zone because they're scared. So you need to ask yourself a question: what would I do if I was not afraid? That changes everything. If you remove fear from equation, you can accomplish great things in life, and you can become whatever you want to become. Often in our lives, we see that our relationships we're suffering in our relationship, we're suffering in jobs that we don't like. So we can apply these lessons over here. We do not need to essentially change the relationship or the person that we are related to. We need to change our behavior, how we interact with them. So that is the key message in this, that by introducing new behaviors, by inculcating new behaviors, and by changing ourselves, we'll start getting improvement in our relationships. Similarly, if we do not like jobs or if we do not like our bosses, so either you change the job or you try to have a better behavior, try to exhibit a better behavior with your colleagues or with your bosses. So these are the key messages. So Sniff, Scurry and Haw fared better as compared to Hem. And that's what tells us that people who do not change at all, they are the ones who get left behind. So we need to adapt as the change happens. We need to welcome change, and we should be ready to change ourselves again and again and enjoy the process of change. So that is the bottom line over here. You need to enjoy the change. And I hope you enjoy reading the book as well. I strongly recommend you to read this book. It's an amazing piece. So thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, hit the like button. And if you can subscribe to the channel, I think that will be a great way to get further videos like this. Thank you very much.